we are discussing about justice, so I just want to briefly point two things out. We are not discussing it. Just these are open questions. Inshallah, some other time we will discuss this thing. When we think about justice, we think about rule and equality. These are two basic things that comes to our mind when we talk about justice. So, for justice, we say the first among the criteria is if there should be rule and there should be equality. Everybody agrees with that? I don't think anybody. So, let me ask you a question.
What about peace? You on it?
Right now, we put another thing here, peace. But I'll just talk on this two, and then we will go on to our topic that we wanted to discuss. So my question to you is, the mafia has a set of rules.
But first you tell me, why are you putting rule in justice?
Because everybody thinks there's rules. In justice, there's rules. And there's justice needs is equality. Law, right? Rule, law.
/law.
Equality,
Principles.
Equality is a pretty wide term.
Correct. I agree with you, and that's why I'm saying this is food for thought. This is not answering question. The mafia has rules. Does it mean that it executes justice? No. Right? Equality. In a class, I'm teaching, high school students. They are boys and girls. And I then decide to do this at the end of the class period, semester. I give everybody
A grade.
A grade, regardless of whether they.
Because
You are humble, you are generous.
For the sake of equality.
No. For the sake, not humble, generous. For the sake of equality, I want everybody to be equal.
Oh, okay.
So have I executed justice?
No.
Don't answer this question. I want you to think about it. So the criteria that rule and equality are necessary for justice fall apart. That is all I want to point out. So because this is something that people, and that's why Brother Fawaz's point, peace, aman, is also a criteria for justice. Guidance.
No, justice is a criteria for peace. Justice is a prerequisite for peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot establish peace without establishing a justice.
Both ways. It is a both ways. It's
No, it's one way.
no.
How both
How?
ways?
It
How
cannot
both ways?
possible.
How
If there's
both
no
ways?
peace, how can there be justice?
How can there be
No,
What
it's
kind
not-
of, okay, hold on. What kind of peace are you talking about?
Peace meaning peace.
No.
Peace.
How can you have peace without
Without justice.
It's a two-way street. Believe me. Think about
It's
it.
one way.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about. We will talk about this some other time.
Israel can have it as a first piece, then we will talk about justice.
Correct. So
That's वही ऐसी बात नहीं है.
Fahad bhai
if
knows
you
editing.
remember-
जियो पे नहीं जा रहा है. आप बोलेंगे.
if you
Fahad
remember
bhai knows
last
editing,
time,
no problem.
No, but that's right. You're right. They were saying let's peace talk. How you can be a person? They don't have a place to live. They don't have enough food.
so here.
How you can do the
Okay.
peace?
Okay, so here, if you remember, we had this diagram last time where we had the spokes. I can't remember the other 3 or 4. So you get time. This was evolution. This was aerodynamics.
When I was asking you were going to touch aerodynamics today.
No, I'm going to finish time today. We didn't finish time, and then if comes to evolution, because we had Ramadan, then I finished Ramadan the other day, right?
Yeah.
We
Jump to the presentation.
We will jump to the presentation. So
We did time, we did Friday, we
Yes.
did Ramadan,
Yes.
yes.
and today we're supposed to do
Evolution.
No, time.
aero-
Time. I want to add a few things that
No.
It's
just
incomplete.
I probably missed it, or I
Okay, do
quickly
the
moved to
time.
that.
So leave everything to the time.
Time.
Yes.
So we did the Friday,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We don't have time.
Friday and Juma.
Okay.
Okay. We Juma.
Right.
The point I was trying to make here is one of the things that we always come about is the measurement of time. 2 things, 3 things. The day, when we measure time, we can use the sun, we use the moon,
Yeah.
and we use the stars. Right? In the daytime, we use the sun. At the night time, we use the stars. Because the sun is not there, so it cannot give you the passage of time. We use the stars. And for the month, we use the moon. And each one of them is separate. So you can never have a perfect synchronization. So this is 354 days a year, this is 365.25 and some things. This is, I've forgotten the, what, if you take one star, how many days is that is. So this, you can never have something perfect, that they will always align. So this is intrinsic. We either use the sun, we use the sun for the day, when the sun is out, we use the months, the moon, and for the stars, in the passage of night. So the thing that I was trying to point out is this: if you look at all this thing, this all rests on one simple thing, is that we should be able to measure the position of these objects mathematically, observationally, right? We should know which star came out at which point in the night, and then we extrapolate, mathematically have a telescope or observatory, look up, point us all the sundials and all this thing. So the mathematical knowledge needed, right, is pretty sophisticated, right? It's not like somebody. So the question comes up: how did we know, and when did we know? This is the point I want to bring out today. I forgot to emphasize on this point here. How did we know, and when did we know? This is a question that science is always asking.
How did we know? When did we know?
How did we know to measure these things?
Okay.
And what are the basis of this thing? If you look at the science of astronomy, the basic thing is the measure, or in fact, science of measurement. Land. How to divide the land, space, and all that thing. The basic thing is shape are two shapes: this triangle and the circle. The triangle and the circle are the basis of all modern day measurements. If you want to divide things, all other shapes are, complex shapes derived from this thing. The pentagon can be divided into triangles, and so on and so forth. So if you don't know how to measure, so let's say you want to measure your position of a star up in the sky like this. This star moves here at 1 hour, it's like this, and then after a certain time it's like this. Then what happens? This star is here, and then you go to another position, A, and you go to B, and look at this star. This is a triangle. These are two angles, and then you can measure the side, and all these fancy calculations you can do. I don't want to go into the details. What I'm trying to say is, this is how. If you go by this theory that mankind was stupid, did not know, 10,000, 15, the oldest calendar is 35,000 years old. The oldest zodiacal collection, I believe, is 130,000 years old on the bones marking. If this was the case, and man was so stupid, he was a monkey, coming from the monkey branch, right? How quickly did he develop this knowledge? Right? So, when did we know? We are always making discoveries, pushing back the time. Right? Before it was 4,000, it was 8,000, 10,000, 130. So this is always going backwards. How is an open question. Like the Egyptian papyrus, where they do all this calculation for the stars, the Deccan stars, if you remember last time, then they give the name of their teacher as the first person as Hermes Trismegistus. he's called the first teacher of these ideas to the Egyptian civilization. Right? So the question is, how does Islam answer this question? Islam answered this question by saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it to Idris alayhi salam. Okay? And Idris alayhi salam is the first Nabi, prophet, messenger of Allah, who taught us astronomy, writing, because writing is the basis of everything, right? Without writing, you can't really do anything. Writing, astronomy, right? And what else? Geomancy and medicine.
What is that?
Geomancy,
What is that?
triangles.
Oh,
Geometry.
Not geometry as such, but geomancy, by which you draw lines on the sand, and you try to get some calculations and all these things, derive some meaningful data out of that. So this could be geometry too, right? So this point I really wanted to emphasize on this panel, that Islam also answers this question, and it is dependent on your worldview point here, right here, how you will answer these questions. If you believe Allah created the universe and we have a purpose here, then you will come to Idris alayhi salam, right? If you start from the assumption there's randomness, coincidence, purposelessness is what the universe is all about, then definitely you will just be stuck in this loophole here. How will you answer the question?
okay.
Do you understand what the point that I'm trying to make here? We normally don't think of these things, that these are also part, this is from here we derive these things. They are linked, they are not separate. If you look at it, I couldn't finish the research because I was so sick this past week. The days of the week, what are they named after? Monday, Tuesday, we went through that, right?
One of them is named after some sort of Greek goddess or something.
Yeah, most of them, or if you go through world civilizations, they are named after the goddesses of the planets,
Oh yeah.
right? Like Jupiter is the god of the planet Jupiter, right? Venus is another goddess, Saturn is another goddess,
Yeah.
that's Mercury is another goddess, god, right? So in Arabic, does anybody know in Arabic what the days are? Yom. I always forget. So if someone tell me what is after Juma, Yom al Sabat.
Yom al
Right?
Sabt.
What is Sunday?
Yom al Ahad.
Yom al Ahad. What is the next one? Yom al Asnan.
Yes, no.
Look at this interesting thing. It is not linked with the gods. Do you see that? They were also mushriks. They also had knowledge of astronomy. So why is it that in Arabic there's no association between the days of the week and the planets and the goddesses? We should think about that. Instead, the reference frame is Juma. Right? Juma, Yom al-Sabat, Yom al-Ahad, Yom al-Asnan, Yom al-Salasa, right?
Mhm.
And
Yom al-Khamis.
Khamis, and then
Yom al-Jum'ah.
Yom al-Juma.
Yom Arbaniya,
Yom al-Khamis.
Bud,
Thursday, yeah.
Yom al Jum'ah, Yom al
Sabat,
Sab'ah,
Sabt,
Yom
Yom
al-Sabt.
Sab,
Yom al-Ahad.
Ahad, Yom al Ithnan,
Thalatha.
Salasa,
Monday, Tuesday is what?
Salasa,
Yom al Thalatha, Wednesday, Yom al Khamsin,
No, Wednesday I don't know. Thursday is Yom al...
but believe me,
Okay.
they are linked to a consecutive these Friday is the sorry, I have to keep saying Juma is the reference from which you start counting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all the other Hinduism, Chinese civilization, you know, the present English civilization takes it from the Greeks and the Romans. We have already gone through that.
Yes.
So I think in that there's some lesson for us to reflect upon. Will you agree with me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keeping his deen pure from shirk. That's my take on it. Allah.
Similarly, the Arabic language, if you see the construct of the language and you see the Quran, then you understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constructed this language for a purpose.
Correct?
He had to bring down Quran in this language.
Correct?
Otherwise, how could this be possible?
Agreed.
There's no other explanation of that. How Arabic language, its vowel, its alphabets, and its numerical value all get synchronized. Doesn't work. Like if you see that the person who did Rashid Khalifa, who got crazy after that, he did some research and he found out the alphabetical value, numeric value of alphabets in Arabic, and he was surprised at what he found. And have you read that? I'll send you an article. I'll put it on WhatsApp groups so that you can share it. Amazing.
So it's very interesting that in the Book of Numbers is basically the Torah of the
Old
Bani Israel,
Testament.
Old Testament. It says at the beginning, how are they instructed to, mark their calendar? It says at the beginning of your renewed moons, do your calculation. You mark your calendar. This is explicit. Book of Numbers, verse 10. Do they do it now?
No.
And see, the other place, which I was reading it, so therefore I just brought it up here, was the heavens declare the glory of Allah and the firmament showed his handiwork. That means this is Zabur 19, verse number 1. Basically what? Sabbih isme, remember? When the heavens declare the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the same thing. It's the same thing. If you go back to the Zabur and the Injil, you will still see the pure message is still there. And what are we doing today? We have the only difference now between the old people of the book and today is they actually corrupted the book, interpolated the ayats. We can't. And that is what is the rahmah from us. We can still go to the reference. If you don't, you are completely lost. Which one was this one? The Surah Ibrahim?
Surah Ibrahim.
Okay. So, before moving to, I think we have done the time thing. Is there any questions? I want to move on.
इसमें आपने नई बात क्या बताई? ये थोड़ी तो पहले बता चुके हैं।
No. I included this and this one.
Shapes.
And then the shapes, triangulation, and these are the basic things. And last point.
Geometry discuss कर चुके हैं।
No, yes, we discussed this part, but not this part. And last point I want to make is, with the time, the Egyptians had 36 Deccan stars to calculate the hours at night, right? What do we do? So most people, I ask this question, they say GPS. Right? So GPS is, what is GPS? GPS is basically a constellation of satellites orbiting this Earth.
And they
Right?
triangulate your position on Earth.
Right?
They triangulate your position on Earth.
Triangulate. Remember, that's the basis of everything. Triangulate or trilaterate. That is the basic. People think, GPS. But what is the basis of triangle? It's still this.
Yeah.
Pythagoras theorem.
It's interesting.
Have you invented something new?
No, actually not.
No, you just become more precise, yes. But is it, if you had an error of 15 meters here, now you have an error of 15 micrometers.
Same thing with the GPS satellites. That's why whenever you actually look at the coordinates. Say you put in your Google Maps. You don't put directions. Say you actually put there's actual coordinates. Every part of the Earth has like mathematical coordinates, and it's based on the triangle Pythagorean theorem.
Yes.
If it's even off a little bit, if the satellite's off a little bit, you'll end up in the wrong place.
Correct. So the basis is this.
Like it's too high level for me. Honestly, but that was amazing. There was a question yesterday that how GPS communicate with a satellite. It does not have internet, does not have a data plan. What is the chip inside in the GPS is communicate through the satellite and give me exact direction where I want to go.
Okay.
But that's it.
We'll discuss that sometime. So these satellites, what people forget,
And you know how many of them? 24.
24. So what people forget, why 24? There's a reason for that too. So is how do these satellites know where they are?
Oh, these are satellites.
They themselves are?
Yes. How do they know?
Through this
They talk-
formula.
Stars.
Stars. Oh, the basis of stars. Because people used to travel in the ship and boats
So
through the
this-
star directions.
Yeah.
As I said, I was so sick I couldn't do that thing. How many space rockets, space probes have gone off track just because they lost their tracking star? So this is Mars. The probe is going this way to Mars, is keeping track of these 3 stars
Yeah.
to triangulate its position. Remember triangulate? And then for some reason it loses this star and it goes pew.
Oh.
Lose direction.
Can you? I don't have the picture. I would have shown you the Apollo 11. Neil Armstrong had a star chart. So he had a group of stars he was tracking to take his trajectory towards the moon. I inshallah, when I feel better, I'll put that.
Quran के आयत quote करें.
That's it. What does the Quran say?
Aya says that.
What does the Quran say? No, it's no. Go back. No, think deeply. No. It's not simply just saying it. Think deeply. This is what was revealed. This is what was stated by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. That you can. What did He say? What did He say?
You cannot
If you
go
think, yes, sit.
Humankind and jinn kind, you cannot go out. And if you want,
No.
if you want,
Yeah, no.
Let's not go there for a minute. Let's not go there. Let's talk about that ayah. The purpose of stars.
It is.
The purpose of stars
Subhanallah.
To shoot.
is to help you navigate.
Navigate. Wow.
And
that's
I thought that this means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is created everything for us.
Of course.
This is for
Then
us.
what about the SETI project? SETI project came out that okay fine, and we can be there can be more human being like intelligent.
We'll come to
But
that.
guess what? Couldn't find any.
No, we'll come to that later on. So the point I'm trying to make here is the stars, in fact, in physics, most people are not aware of this guy. He's called Ernest Mach. Ernest Mach is a contemporary of, he's a colleague of Einstein. He worked with him. If you people have heard of Mach number? Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 2.
Speed.
Speed of, this from him. He developed that. He has a very interesting thing. I'll go into the epistemology very soon on that ayah, the epistemological position. But first, let's look at it. So let me finish this one, and then I will show you. So the stars are the. In fact, some of these GPS satellites have gone out of commission because they lost their tracking stars, because the camera got obscured or something, and they can't track the star. So is out. So the stars are the means by which we do all these things, right? Now think about the next thing that I want to make here. So these are the next thing that I want to talk about is, remember this, the Egyptians were tracking the 36 Deccan stars, right?
Decans means what?
Deccan is 10.
From decade.
They had.
Question number 2.
Yes.
You're going pretty fast. You started this 24 satellites. You
Yeah.
started talking about stars. and GPS and our location,
Yeah.
can you please explain me? What if there are no stars?
And what is
How would have human being reached this kind of technology?
Okay, so that's why I said I'll give you the epistemological position very soon. Who ask this question and remember this guy. I'll give you this answer. Just now, let me finish this point here.
Okay.
So they had 36 stars. 36 stars, why? Because they're divided, is a complicated something, but basically they had 18, 12 stars, doing all that stuff. So this 36 stars is now, today the time keeping is now kept by, is what is called IERS, International Earth Reference Frame, IRF frame system. So guess how many stars, they are still using stars. So how many stars are they using? 64,000.
64,000 stars.
Yes. So from 36 to 64. But the fundamental has not changed. You're still using stars. In fact, I can make.
Why do they use stars? Why don't you use for these satellites?
Yeah.
They are giving you location on the Earth, right?
Yes.
It should be in reference with the Earth.
But how?
Why stars?
But that's what I'm saying. A position on the Earth.
That's a pretty funny thing.
No, but the Earth is always rotating.
No,
So they are rotating with them.
So listen.
Where do you need the position?
Okay,
You need
listen.
position on the Earth, right?
Okay, listen.
Yeah, but the stars
Hey,
don't
listen,
move in
listen.
space.
So this is your. Let's say this is your flat Earth.
Star moves.
No.
Hold on.
Still.
Hey, listen. So this is your flat Earth. Let's take a piece of Earth. So there are only two ways you can put your position. There are only two ways. No third way. If there's a big tree, mountain here, and you are here, and you want to tell somebody, Muzammil Bhai, where is my house? I'll say, this mountain M, it's near there. Right? What do you mean by near? It could be anywhere in this radius. You have to give direction too. So how do you find direction? How do you find direction on Earth?
On Earth.
How do you find direction?
Yes.
Yes, like
Should give some.
north, south, east, west.
Yes. How do you designate what is north and what is south?
Through
North
stars.
Pole, South.
Huh?
Stars.
You got it.
Very good.
No, we are not. Let's talk about without stars.
That's what I'm saying. I'm coming to your point here. If you want to know direction, what was the biggest problem for navigation before modern century? For the sea, sea times.
But we have compasses, right?
So compass, how does compass point? What does compass
Compass
point?
point towards north.
What is
At least you have designated something north. That's why it's pointing north.
Yes.
Yes.
But
So,
there is a north pole, right?
so how do you get that? What that
magnetic
is
needle shows you.
The magnetic needle points this.
Yes.
So how do you know this is north?
Because you give them name. It's called
You
north.
give it the name north.
No.
Yeah, we don't need star for that.
No, that's why. I
But
think
this
it's going-
geomagnetic north pole is different from the geographical north pole.
Yeah,
You know that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It is.
So how do you, and the difference between the geomagnetic and geographical, if you don't, you can't fly a plane.
No.
The declination is essential for traveling. Number one. Number two, the geomagnetic field varies, so it moves. The question is, how do you know geographical north, south,
Through
or
stars.
The only way you can know is it's called the pole star.
No, the question is, so without stars, we can't
No,
do
you
nothing.
can't. I don't think so.
I'm coming to your point.
I think
Hold
it's
on.
important.
So the pole star in the northern hemisphere gives you the north. In the southern hemisphere, there's no pole star. So when ships used to go towards Australia, South Africa, below this, equator, they will get lost.
So Columbus, instead of going to India and reach US.
No, that's a different story, but yes. So this was, you know how much money for the longitude problem? How much the Royal Navy, the Royal Navy put forward to solve this longitude problem? In today's money, almost $3 million.
That's it.
And people say secularism and democracy was spread peacefully. Who's spreading this? You know why they had to solve this problem? Because most of their naval ships, Royal Navy's ship, when they're bombarding primitive civilization, they used to get lost in the storm. And they would crash on the reefs. Therefore, to solve the longitude problem, I can
What's the
go into-
longitudinal problem?
the longitude problem is this. This is the Earth. So you have the longitude.
Latitude and longitude.
This is the latitude.
So what's the problem?
The problem is this. It is no problem to measure the latitude on what latitude you are in by the position of the sun. Right? But it's a problem on what longitude you are in. Why? It's
Again, the degree of the sun.
we will discuss that some other time. So the point I'm trying to make here is, let's go to Brother Fawad's question. He's been very eager asking this question.
Why we need a star for direction?
What is the position of stars in, I'll phrase it deliberately, provocatively, in our daily life? So, can a star tell us whether we will be happy tomorrow or we will win the lottery tomorrow? There are people who believe that.
Yes. That's true.
And so, in modern today's position, in scientific position, we have what is called the Mach's principle.
Which is that?
Mach's principle. Mach, M-A-C-H, Mach's principle. And this is a very controversial position in physics today. Basically, he's saying, what is he saying? He's saying, if there are no stars, there is no motion, there is no space, there is no time on Earth. Brother Fawad, have I answered your question?
Come again, please.
Max,
What he said, my principle, that if
Max
there is no
says
star,
if there is no stars,
there is no position on Earth.
there's no force,
It's not
there's no
possible.
inertia, there's no time, there's no space. We will not be conscious of any of these things on Earth.
What are you talking, brother?
This is I didn't say I'm talking. This
What
is his
inertia,
position.
what inertia has to do with that?
I can't go. If we will have gone very deep into the topic, but
And what time has to do with that? The sun is there,
the star.
Moon is there.
This you can only measure those things in the daytime.
I think so. And
So
For
at least
precise
we-
measurement, it is the star, and then inertia. How inertia comes in, I'll discuss it some other point. But this is the epistemological position. So short answer, yes, there are some people, and there are other scientists who reject this principle. Like Einstein rejected this principle. Okay, he did not accept this, that this could be true. How can you verify it? There is something called, if somebody wants to go and
Well,
study it,
the
it's
name
called
is-
the bucket experiment. Newton tried to verify it. It was not. Cannot be proved. One way or the other. It's very interesting. But if you want, we can discuss Mach's principle some other time. So. Hello.
क्यों खैर नहीं हाँ भाई
stars, how important are the stars? And it's in the Quran, it's saying give you navigation. Give you.
Why I'm insisting on that, the thing
no,
is,
it's not in Surah Al-Baqarah.
why I'm insisting on that, because if without navigation, without stars, how would you navigate?
You can't be navigated according to Max.
No, that is different.
वो तो कसम खाई यार ये कुरान की
We can't navigate on earth, right?
If it is not in the same position.
In the night, that's it.
Oh,
If there's no sun, no
नहीं, मैं
moon,
कसम खाता हूँ
We can navigate.
सितारों
That's
के
it.
डूबने की जगह की
But stars also.
فإنه لقسم لو تعلمون ये बहुत बड़ी कसम
I
इन्होंने
think people go
कुरान
in the
कुरान की
old
अजमत का
times they
बयान
follow the stars.
कि ये
and why
सितारे-
64,000?
ये सितारों का निजाम तुम्हें बड़ा
That is
मुस्तहकम
interesting.
नजर आता है
Why
इसकी
64,000?
कसम खाई यार
What
That
is the
mean
what
you-
is the
the
star?
more the
मुझे
more you
बहुत बड़ी
have, the
कसम है
more
मैं
precise
तुझे
you are.
इन्नहु लकुरानुम करीम
That's the only reason that I can understand.
Sorry.
We need to talk about all on Max principle.
I think this is a very good topic. We need to elaborate more in next session.
On Max principle? Yeah,
Max
inshallah.
and-
That this is actually, it comes under the foundations of time and how time measurement and all these things.
And if there's no star,
there's
can't we rely on sun and moon for
So
travel?
it is very. In fact, I
And
always.
why 64,000 of them?
That's for just precise. You can have 76,000. You can have 80,000. That's not the point. The questions we should ask: what is the minimum required? You can increase. There's a quote I wanted to bring it about metrology, but I can't. I've forgotten it, so I will inshallah not forgotten it. It's there. So I think I have given enough introduction for the philosophy of time, so that we can break those topics up and elaborate further, and you will see that ultimately, what is your world viewpoint? That is how you derive your. So if my world viewpoint is what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala created me, He created the stars for our help, right? So this is my position. If you say there's no Allah, random, coincidence, chance, whatever, then you can have Marx principles and Dawkins principles and Charles principles and everything. You will never. What is that sheer from Akbar Al-Abadi? फलसफी की डोर में फलसफी की डोर
फलसफी को बहस में खुदा मिलता
नहीं, डोर सुलझा रहा है,
सिरा मिलता है।
Oh.
Huh? Let me just translate that for you.
Yeah.
It's a so pointed. This thing is. Repeat that the first line, please.
फलसफी को बहस में खुदा मिलता है।
So he's saying in the discourse of philosophy, you can't find God. They are unable to find God. They are trying to unknot untangle the when a cord is tangled, they are trying to untangle the cord. They can't get
threads.
The thread or whatever. You can't get the first point, so which you can untangle.
Then start an ending point.
So basically, what they are saying is they are going. What does Allah Taala says in Surah Hijr is very powerful. I forgot the ayat number. He says, by your life. Allah Ta'ala swears by the life of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. By your life. He says, verily, we have left those people who have become misguided, right? In their intoxication. Intoxication doesn't necessarily mean you drink and then you are intoxicated. You can be intoxicated with power also, with kibr also, right? We have left them to wander to and fro. So this is what has happened to mankind. This is the position that mankind has become. First, it was metaphysical explanation for everything, right? This was God, that was God, this was God, that was God, everything was God. To physical position. So everything is physical. Prior to, it was metaphysical. And where Islam stands? Islam stands right here. There are certain things that are physical, no doubt, we are physical, and there are certain things beyond the physical, which we cannot comprehend without what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has told us about.
Divine guidance.
Right? So this is basically the position that I wanted to explore. I forgot about the Max principle last time. That's why I wanted to introduce that. That is very important to understand that this is what I'm saying. Muslims today do not understand the epistemological position. Where we are coming from. Why do we have these things? When ask anybody, and this is something that people they agree with me about many people. What was he saying? Javed Gandhi was saying, "Oh, ask a mullah, how do we pray? Don't we measure it by clocks? Why don't we go and do it by the sun?" But he's wrong. He's totally wrong. The clock is synchronized by what? By international time. And how is international time referenced? It is provided by the IERFS. And how is the IERFS calculated? through the extra galactical radio sources. So in essence, when I'm looking at the time, I'm indirectly looking at, I'm referencing the stars, right?
Yeah, they made this tool easy
Yeah,
for you to calculate.
Exactly. So come to this point here. Let me explain this. What the difference now? When 500 years ago, 700 years ago,
I'm never gonna look at my watch the same way I used to after listening.
so this is, I wanted to go from point A to point B. Yes? This is whatever, any point A to point B. I don't know, I've never been to point B. Jawad Bhai has been to point B. I take him as my guide. Hashim Bhai hasn't gone to point B. He becomes his guide. And so on and so, then he becomes the guide. That's how people were traveling. Yes?
Yeah.
So in a town of 1,500 people, there will be probably 3 guides. Agreed?
Yeah.
3 or 4 guides, not more than that, who will be teaching their sons and their sons and their sons. Today, same thing. I want to go to point A to point B. Never been there. Never been there. So what do? I go by a GPS.
Sure, Google.
Sure, Google is gonna be my guide.
GPS, right?
Yeah.
Now, so the person here has been replaced by a device. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, see, this is the,
Very
there's a lot of hikmah coming out here.
हिम्मत के लिए मौत मशीनों की हुकूमत.
So here,
अल्लाह में
how
इकबाल-
many people are,
अल्लाह में इकबाल
so
कहते हैं,
how many people am I dependent on?
एहसास मुरव्वत को कुचल देते हैं हालात.
Okay, let me ask you this. How many people am I dependent on when I buy a GPS device?
Wow.
This is a question.
Huh.
This GPS device, how many people am I dependent upon to get this GPS device?
Number one, my employer. If he pays me salary, then I'm gonna. Then the shop.
No, that is the same thing here.
Then the shop. Then
Manufacturer.
people-
Manufacture
So
research.
if you really start looking at it, this is what this. You can't even enumerate it. You have to categorize it now,
Yeah.
right?
In group.
You have manufacturing, you have distribution,
Research,
you have sales.
Raw materials.
Exactly, and even before that, you have raw materials,
Yeah, direct material,
right?
indirect material.
Transportation, right? You can't even enumerate it now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So one
It's
person,
good.
So which is
A lot
good
of
for
people are
them.
getting jobs.
exactly.
That's a yeah.
Capitalization.
No.
No, cannot
Allah
be.
subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that He's going to send more and more people to the dunya. So He has
So
made
arrangements.
provision for their risk.
Through GPS.
So your theory galat hai. That machine is destroying the jobs and economy.
No,
Greed is destroying it. Greed is destroying.
Greed. So machine.
This is
Oh.
unfortunately.
तो इकबाल का शेर यहाँ पे गलत हो गया.
Unfortunately, people think overpopulation is the cause
That's
of
why.
all these things. So I will come to that thing
तो
just
अल्लाह
now.
ने
This
रिस्क
is
रखा हुआ है.
this is
Machine
Bill
की वजह से
Gates.
खत्म नहीं होगा.
Bill Gates'
Oh.
biggest issue with the dunya.
That's a very good topic.
Bill Gates' biggest issue with the dunya is population.
Yeah.
He said if 2 billion people could die, it would be very good. This is his explicit statement.
But he doesn't realize that Allah's provided risk for everyone.
Look at it. Look, I just showed it to you.
I know it's a good example.
Even with kids, right? Allah says, "Don't kill your children. We'll,
Yeah.
I'll provide you."
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Just look at it.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah. Hold this topic for next.
It's
topic.
greed. That's
We're going to talk about details. It's
Okay.
very good.
So no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this creation in Adam for a purpose.
5 मिनट में वाइंड अप करें, देर हो रही है.
Okay. So this is the this is what I really wanted to talk about on this thing is we should relate to all these things to our world viewpoint. This is what we are missing. Last point, and I'm closing this thing is there are 2 ayats.
बिल गेट्स को कर देना, आगे ना जाए.
Hi, Bill Gates wala. So Bill
won't-
Gates, about 3 weeks ago, there was a whole on on Yahoo and all Twitter, and he recommended a book, the better angels, I can't remember the title, it's called Better Angels of Ourselves or something by Steven Pinker. When he went to a the commencement, graduation ceremony, you know, which happens nowadays, and recommended that each of our graduate read this 700-page book by Steven Pinker. He's in MIT. He's originally from Montreal. He published his books like I think about 8-9 years ago. I can't remember.
What
So
is the book?
what is the thesis of this book?
What is the name of the book?
Better Angels of Ourselves or something. I can't remember the exact title. I can,
Googling right now.
just
No, I need
No,
to
no.
Google.
If you can-
Googling something else for you.
so,
The Quran. That's
if you
the
can, someone Google the Better Angels, you will get it. What, here the point out. So the thesis of the book is that mankind is becoming more angelic,
angelic. It's good.
from savage to angelic. I mean, this is a common position. This is not something. The only difference in this book is using cognitive sciences and empiricism to bolster his position. So he collected data for, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 years ago, you know, and showed that wars and conflict have been declining. We have been having less and less conflict. So this is something I read in 2008, 2009 of this thing. So it was at the back of my mind. I used it many times. So there was another scientist who wrote a rebuttal on his book.
Yeah.
Rebuttal.
And then I read the rebuttal.
Long due.
Okay, immediately after that, I read the rebuttal. And the rebuttal was, what are the rebuttals? Very simple. Science is always like that. Cherry picking. So the data that is picking is cherry picking. When something doesn't agree, or transforming, or smoothing out the problems. These are the things. And so the point I was
The rebuttal alleged this book with these kind of.
not alleged, demonstrated. And then Steven Pinker really got mad and wrote bad things about the guy.
But the guy, person.
Personally.
Oh, personally.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. So what I'm trying to say.
Muslim, he must be a Muslim.
No, he was not a Muslim. He's an atheist.
That must be a Muslim.
Yeah, he's an atheist. That person is
That
an
guy
atheist.
must be a Muslim.
So, in fact, there's another story like that. Oh, okay. So basically, I want you to concentrate on the topic. Can you Google this thing? The Better Angels, or whatever name that angel title. And this is, I'm closing with this. What did Shaitan say to Adam alayhi salam when he came to misguide him?
He said that you're gonna get eternal life.
And
Malik ban jaoge.
And you become angel.
ah,
Yeah.
नहीं समझ में आया। क्या है
Repeat it for me.
I'm your well-wisher. You know, just when he.
He said, why Allah stopped you from this tree? You know why? Because if you eat it, guess what? You'll become immortal and you'll become angel.
Do you get the ayah?
Yeah, I know that I am.
Yes? So the two words that are very key, and I'm closing with this, is angels and what?
And better.
Immortality.
With immortality there.
Right? These are the two key words.
Yeah.
This is the waswasa by which Adam alayhi salam, he couldn't misguide him with money.
Yeah.
He couldn't misguide him like Fawad was saying, it's already there, everything is there. In Jannah, what can he give him? What can Shaitan give Adam alayhi salam?
What deal he could have offered him?
What deal?
So we have this
What
ayah in
we
Surah
already had.
Al-Araf. It's in Surah Al-Araf.
So angel means you become more pious.
No.
You become more obedient.
No, angels, angels.
Power of
Angel.
angel. Power.
Angels itself.
Angel means
Malaika.
Around.
Yeah.
Malaika.
Oh my. Okay.
And
So that
his-
power.
His body is going to not be confined in my body. Like we are confined in our body.
So angel, what my definition is obedient. They don't have sense. They whatever.
No,
they do.
no,
That's
वो
my angel's
तो
definition.
फरिश्ता
फरिश्ता वाली
परवरी
angel
है
है।
ना, नहीं, वो तो
No,
अच्छा, ये
no.
angel
फरिश्ता
दूसरा है।
सीरत
Oh,
फरिश्ता
okay.
सीरत बहू लाऊंगी वो तो
Okay.
that's a
Just
fraud.
1 minute. I want
That's
to
the biggest
I
fraud.
want to correct one thing. I want to correct one thing. The Islamic
There's
word-
nothing like that.
सफलों को मत
Total.
छेड़ो।
No, listen,
No, total
listen.
nothing like that.
अच्छा ये एंजल दूसरा वाला है।
No,
Come, come.
listen to this. What is the difference between animals, malaika, and human beings? in
नंदू
Islam?
आपका आखिरी सेंटेंस था।
No, you interrupted me, so I need to correct this thing.
अस्तगफुरुल्लाह।
What is the difference between malaika? He's right, actually.
मलाइका इख्तियार।
He's actually right. So if you see in non-Islamic ideology, there's different ways of framing these things. You know,
free will.
Noor and this and that. This is the difference. And this is one I can't remember the alim who did it. I think it was Ibn Qayyim or Ibn Jawzi, I can't remember. He said, Malaika have soul. Oh no, sorry. Malaika have consciousness, but not something like that. Desire. They have no desire.
They don't have desire.
They have consciousness, but yeah, no desire. I know this.
Animal are conscious, but they have desire. Only. That they just fulfill their desire. They are not,
You're not conscious of your feelings. or-
feelings or nothing. If they have to pee, they have to pee.
Yeah.
And man is in between this thing. He has desire,
Consciousness too.
consciousness too,
Both.
And soul too.
soul too.
Question.
In fact, the question has always been, somebody asked an alim, and this is where I went to him and said, look, you did. So this is what happened. In a masjid, somebody came and the khutbah was given, and he said, when you slaughter the lamb, the ruh goes to Jannah.
That's exactly, we hear it.
So he came, the rationalist, came and said, "Well, how is it possible he goes to, we have ruh and they have ruh, how is it possible?" And then the alim was, the khatib was trying to explain all this concept, and I said, if you give me one moment, let me explain to this guy that he has got the whole view wrong. It is about desire, Forget about the ruh. The ruh is ghaib. Don't talk about it. Whether ruh is in malaika or animal or why do you want to discuss it? That is the ghaib. Allah Ta'ala says it in Surah Araf. Surah Kahf. There's but very little knowledge.
No, Surah Bani Israel.
So, Bani Israel, very little.
Yasalunaka anir ruh.
Very little knowledge. We don't. So leave that on. So coming back to, you got that? That's the basic difference. So just look at, coming back to Bill Gates and Steven Pinker's, he's saying man is becoming angelic. So basically, the same seduction that was done to Adam alayhi salam, this is what we are being called to also. Right or wrong? Tell me.
Yeah, this is the next horizon. First, we have we are in search of means to make our life comfortable and joyful. Now we'll be finding means how to prolong it.
So basically, and if honestly, senescence research, stem cell, and so on, senescence research basically is nothing new. Before it was called what? Hindu civilization. Anybody knows it was called? Senescence, Amrit. If you drink it, you'll be immortal. In Greeks, it was called what? Elixir.
Yeah, elixir.
Right? So the word Amrit, ambrosia, elixir has come to become senescence. That's it. Nothing more. Jazakallah khair.
Well, how should we?